My wife, to take the blame for her first love, voluntarily confessed and went to jail. I rushed to the detention center that night, watching her through the glass, her shoulders shaking uncontrollably. The prison guards sternly knocked on the table. Family members, control your emotions. Don't break your health from crying. But as soon as I walked out the door, I burst out laughing like a pig. My brainless wife, you just go in and happily run that sewing machine. Why didn't you sign a prenup first? Now it's great. The position of chairman of the group is mine. The live-in son-in-law. I wiped away non-existent tears from my face. I took out my phone and sent a voice message to my personal lawyer. Davis, let's do it. The Sutherland Corp. Seal is mine to stamp now. The driver, Kevin, was waiting for me at the door, and he was so scared he didn't dare to speak when he saw me laughing so hard. Boss, where are we going? Back to the Sutherland estate. I opened the car door, plopped down, and crossed my legs. Why go back to the old house? Go to the company. Today is my coronation day. That stupid woman Cecilia. She thinks she's the reincarnation of the Virgin Mary. Her first love, Adrian Vance, DUI hit and run, and she's so good, she just takes the blame for him, saying that Adrian Vance is a pianist. His hands can't get a criminal record. Can my hands get a criminal record? Am I a shit shoveler? For 3 years of marriage, I've been working like a mule in the Sutherland family. I have to test the temperature of the foot-washing water, cut the steak into pieces, and even catch her teddy dog's poop with my hands. Her parents treat me like a free nanny, always looking down on me. Now it's good. Dawn is broken. The car sped all the way and stopped under the Sutherland Corp. building. I straightened my tie, looking at the triumphant man reflected in the glass curtain wall. The former timid Julian Reed died last night. The receptionist saw me and rolled her eyes out of habit, not planning to pay attention to me. When I usually come to deliver food, I have to wait downstairs for half an hour to be notified. I walked straight to the CEO's private elevator. The receptionist rushed out to stop me. Hey, delivery guys use the service elevator. This is Cecilia's. I slapped her across the face, knocking off a layer of her foundation. The crisp sound echoed in the lobby. Everyone around stopped and opened their mouths wide. I took out a wet wipe, wiped my hand, and threw the wipe on her face. Notify everyone. There will be a meeting in the main conference room in 10 minutes. Anyone who is late, get out. I kicked open the door of the conference room. A bunch of old foxes were sitting inside, smoking and discussing how to divide up the mess Cecilia left behind. Seeing me come in, Cecilia's second uncle, Rick Sutherland, put out his cigarette but on the table. Julian Reed? What are you doing here, you mooch? Is this a place for you? Hurry back to deliver prison food to Cecilia. Don't embarrass yourself here. A group of people burst into laughter. That laughter was full of contempt and ridicule. I wasn't angry, pulled out the chair at the head of the table, and sat down with a casual swagger. My saws were directly on the expensive mahogany conference table. Laugh, keep laughing. Don't blame me for not reminding you if you can't cry later. Rick Sutherland slammed the table and stood up. You're rebelling. Security. Throw this lunatic out. Before the security guard could enter, my lawyer Davis came in with his team. A dozen black suits, radiating imposing aura. Davis slammed a stack of documents heavily on the table. Everyone, based on the marital relationship between Ms. Cecilia Sutherland and Mr. Julian Reed and Ms. Cecilia Sutherland's legal status after her imprisonment. In the absence of a prenuptial agreement, Mr. Julian Reed, as the legal spouse, fully takes over all shares under Ms. Cecilia Sutherland's name. That is to say, from now on, Mr. Julian Reed is the largest shareholder of Sutherland Corp. And also the sole chairman. The conference room fell so silent you could hear a pin drop. Rick Sutherland's face turned liver-colored, and he pointed a trembling finger at me. You ungrateful wretch. The Sutherland family has supported you for 3 years, and you dare to usurp power. I grabbed the ashtray on the table and smashed it at his feet. With a smash, shards of glass flew everywhere. Rick Sutherland was so frightened he fell back into his chair. I stood up, braced my hands on the table, and looked around. Supported me? Did I eat your family's rice or spend a single penny of your money? For the past 3 years, I've worked like a dog for the company, tripled the performance, but the salary card was in Cecilia's hands. You call that support? Enough nonsense. I'm in charge of the company now. Who agrees? Who opposes? No one dare to speak. These old geezers are used to bullying the weak and fearing the strong. When they actually meet a ruthless character, they all cower like quails. Just then, the conference room door opened again. A man in a white suit with his hair slicked back walked in. Adrian Vance, Cecilia's cherished first love. He held a document in his hand, a confident smile on his face. I object. Before Cecilia went in, she signed an equity holding agreement. The trustee is me. Adrian Vance held the document high, as if presenting a sacred decree. His smug expression made me want to stomp on his face. Julian Reed, you need to know your place. Cecilia loves me the most. How could she hand the company over to a piece of trash like you? If you know what's good for you, get lost, and don't force me to call security. The Rick Sutherland group saw their savior had arrived and immediately perked up again. That's right, Mr. Vance is the one Cecilia trusts. Julian Reed, your wishful thinking has failed. I looked at Adrian Vance and couldn't help but laugh. I laughed so hard tears almost came out. Adrian Vance frowned. What are you laughing at? Are you crazy? I pointed at the document while laughing. Mr. Great pianist, has your piano playing driven you mad? That agreement of yours, it's handwritten by Cecilia, right? Adrian Vance hesitated for a moment. So what? It has her signature. I turned to look at Davis. Davis pushed up his glasses and said expressionlessly, according to the company law, this level of equity transfer must be voted on by the board of directors and notarized by a notary public. A privately signed holding agreement, if not filed with the state business registry, has no legal effect on the company. In other words, that piece of paper in your hand isn't even good enough to wipe your ass. Adrian Vance's face turned pale instantly. He frantically flipped through the document, his hands trembling. Impossible. Cecilia said it was valid. I walked over and snatched the document from his hand. Right in front of him, I tore it into pieces. I threw my hand up and scattered the paper scraps, like snowflakes falling on his hair, slicked with hair wax. She's ignorant of the law, and you are too? Truly, birds of a feather flock together. Two fools make a pair. I patted Adrian Vance's well-maintained face. The force wasn't strong, but it was extremely insulting. Mr. Vance, this is the Sutherland Corp. Board of Directors. The irrelevant and dogs are not allowed in here. Security, throw him out. The security guards, who hadn't been moving before, were now quite quick on the uptake. Two burly men grabbed Adrian Vance and dragged him out. Adrian Vance struggled and shouted, Julian Reed, you wait. Cecilia won't let you get away with this when she gets out. I'm going to tell her you bullied me. You're dead. I picked at my ear. Let her come out first. Oh, right. Tell her I'm doing great out here. After dealing with this fly, I sat back down in my chair, looking at the group of shareholders below who were silent as cicadas in winter. Anyone else have any objections? If not, let's talk about the financial statements from last quarter. I think some people's hands are reaching a little too far. On the third day of taking over the company, I went to the detention center. It wasn't because I missed her, but because I had to go add insult to injury. Otherwise, I wouldn't feel happy. Separated by thick glass, Cecilia was wearing a gray vest, her hair was cut short, and she was without makeup. She looked much more haggard, with dark circles under her eyes like a panda. When she saw me, a glimmer of light flashed in her eyes. The first thing she said when she picked up the microphone was, "How's Adrian? Is he okay?" You see, this is the woman I loved for 3 years. Even though she's in jail, she's still thinking about that gigolo. I picked up the microphone and adjusted myself into a comfortable sitting position. He's doing great. Yesterday, he just bought a Ferrari, and he used your secondary car to pay for it. He took a young model to the Ritz-Carlton for a room for the night, and he also used your card. Cecilia's expression froze instantly. Then, she slammed on the glass and roared. You're lying. Julian Reed, you're a villain. You're trying to sow discord. Adrian isn't that kind of person. He loves me the most. He must be working hard to get me out, trying to find a way to save me. I sighed and stuck a photo on the glass. In the photo, Adrian Vance was embracing a busted beauty with a big wave, smiling brilliantly. The background was Cecilia's favorite French restaurant. Red wine and steak were set on the table. Look, this is how he's working hard for you. Working hard all the way to bed. Cecilia stared intently at the photo, her eyes about to pop out. Her breathing became rapid, and her chest rose and fell violently. No, this is photoshopped. You definitely photoshopped this. Julian Reed, why are you doing this to me? I asked you to take care of him, and this is how you're taking care of him. I took back the photo and slowly tore it to pieces. I did take care of him. I had people kick him out of the company and stopped all the projects in his hands. Oh, right. He even wanted to use your private seal to transfer the company's working capital. Luckily, I discovered it early. Otherwise, when you came out, you'd only have the wind to eat. Cecilia was stunned. Although she was lovesick when it came to money, she still had some instinctive reaction. Transfer working capital. Impossible. Adrian said he was just borrowing it temporarily. I sneered. Borrowing? Borrowing it to a Swiss bank account. Cecilia, is your head filled with soy milk? If he really loved you, why did he make you take the blame for the hit and run? If he really loved you, why hasn't he come to see you even once since you came in here? Cecilia's defenses began to crumble. She covered her face, her shoulders trembling violently, and she began to sob. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Adrian said he's an artist and can't have blemishes. I did it to fulfill his dream. He said that after the heat blows over, he'll take me out to get married. I almost couldn't help but laugh out loud. This kind of nonsense only fools idiots like her. Okay, you continue to dream. I'm just here today to tell you that the family is doing well, and the company is doing well too. Especially without you, the air is much fresher. After saying that, I hung up the phone and got up to leave. Behind me came the sound of Cecilia, hysterically pounding on the glass and screaming. Julian Reed, come back. Explain yourself. Julian Reed. I didn't look back. I just waved my hand. This kind of advanced emotional manipulation is just beginning. Back at the company, before I could even warm my seat, the receptionist called. Mr. Reed, Mr. and Mrs. Sutherland are here and making a scene downstairs. They said that if you don't let them in, they'll sleep on the floor in the lobby. Those awful parents-in-law have finally become impatient. Before, when I was in the Sutherland family, my mother-in-law would get upset if I didn't mop the floor cleanly and would throw a rag in my face. My father-in-law would flip the plate over if he thought the food I made was bland. Now, they want to see me? They'll have to stand in line. Let them make a scene. Call a few media reporters over, and the headline should read Former Sutherland Corp. Chairman's parents make a scene at the company, suspected of demanding alimony. Make sure the pictures are clear, no filters. After hanging up the phone, I turned on the surveillance monitor. On the big screen, my mother-in-law was sprawled on the ground, wailing and rolling around, her hair a mess like a bird's nest. My father-in-law was pointing at the security guard's nose and cursing, spitting all over the place. A circle of employees had gathered around to watch the spectacle. This old couple usually claimed to be part of high society, but now, for money, they don't care about their reputation. After half an hour, I saw that the time was right and slowly went downstairs. As soon as the elevator doors opened, flashes of light went off. I immediately put on a heartbroken expression and walked over quickly. Dad, Mom, what are you doing? If you have something to say, let's go home. It's so cold on the floor here. What if he gets sick? I reached out to help my mother-in-law up. She slapped me with a backhand, leaving 3 bloody claw marks on the back of my hand. Julian Reed, you son of a bitch. You framed Cecilia and put her in jail, and now you're taking over the company. Give us back the company. Otherwise, I'll kill myself right here. The reporter's cameras instantly zoomed in on my face. I cover my bleeding hand, looking utterly aggrieved. Mom, what are you talking about? Cecilia turned herself in. I couldn't stop her. How could it be my fault? The company is leaderless right now. I'm just protecting Cecilia's legacy. If I didn't take charge, the company would have been swallowed by outsiders long ago. My father-in-law rushed at me, trying to hit me, but was stopped by security. Lies. Adrian Vance told us everything. It was you. You deliberately schemed to frame Cecilia, to seize power. You even want to drive Adrian to his death. You beast. Hearing the name Adrian Vance, I sneered inwardly. Those two old fools have been brainwashed by that pretty boy. I sighed at the camera, my voice filled with helplessness. Dad, Mom, what kind of person is Adrian Vance? Don't you know? He's just a gigolo. Only Cecilia was foolish enough to be completely fooled by him. I have an audit report here. Would you like to take a look? I pulled out a document from my pocket and waved it in front of the camera. During his time as a company consultant, Adrian Vance falsified project expenses and embezzled 20 million yuan of public funds. All of this money went into his personal overseas account. You'd rather believe a con man than your own son-in-law. A stir went through the crowd. The reporters, like sharks smelling blood, asked questions frantically. Mr. Reed, is this true? Is Adrian Vance suspected of embezzlement? Is Ms. Sue's imprisonment also related to this? My mother-in-law was stunned, sitting on the ground and forgetting to cry. My father-in-law's face turned green and then white. You're lying. Adrian is a pianist. He wouldn't be short of money. I handed the document to the nearest reporter. You can find out whether I'm lying or not by checking. Dad, Mom, I have a meeting. I don't have time to act in this drama with you. Security escort them out. After I finished speaking, I turned and left, leaving behind a scene of chaos. Reasoning with these kinds of people is useless. You have to use a hammer. Adrian Vance was panicking. I exposed his dirt to the media, and now the whole internet was digging up his past. The piano prince was actually a graduate of a diploma mill. The wealthy young master was actually in debt. His image was collapsing faster than a shoddy construction project. But he hadn't given up yet. He still held a major project that Cecilia had given him, the development rights to the South Side property. Cecilia had signed off on it before she went to prison. As long as the project started, he could skim a huge kickback and run. I looked at the project proposal in my office. There was something wrong with this land. The subsurface was full of rock, making development costs extremely high. That idiot Cecilia hadn't even done a geological survey before giving the go-ahead. Adrian Vance wanted to make money. I'd let him make as much as he wanted. I called Mark, the engineering department manager, over. Mark was someone I had promoted, and he was completely devoted to me. Mr. Reed, this project can't be signed. It's a trap. I spun my pen rapidly. I know it's a trap. Not only do we need to sign, but we need to sign it with great fanfare. Go tell Adrian Vance that although I have the audit report, Cecilia signed the project contract, and I don't want to breach the contract. As long as he can secure the initial funding, let him do the project. Mark was stunned for a moment, and then a wicked smile appeared. Mr. Reed, are you planning to close the door and beat the dog? Adrian Vance was desperate for money. Hearing that I had relented, he was as happy as a lapdog. He borrowed money from loan sharks everywhere and even mortgaged his brand-new Ferrari to raise the initial funding. On the day of the signing, he wore a red suit, like a groom. Julian Reed, you're smart to see reason. Once this project makes money, I can help Cecilia get her case overturned. Then, you can just wait to lose everything in the divorce. I watched him sign his name on the contract and put his fingerprint on it. In my heart, I silently lit a candle for him. Mr. Vance, I wish you good fortune. But I'll remind you, the feng shui of that land isn't very good. Adrian Vance snorted dismissively. Superstition. I have Cecilia to bring me luck. What feng shui can I suppress? I held back my laughter. Cecilia does bring you luck, so much luck that you're about to go to jail. The day after the contract was signed, the construction team entered the site. On the third day, bad news came. The foundations couldn't be laid. The ground was all granite. Blasting was not only expensive, but it also cracked the walls of the nearby residential buildings. Residents filed collective complaints. The EPA and the Department of Buildings jointly enforced the law, and the project was suspended. Adrian Vance was dumbfounded. All his initial funding was sunk into it, and the loan sharks were compounding interest daily. Workers blocked the door demanding wages, and creditors were waiting downstairs with knives. He called me, crying and begging me. "Julian Reed, Mr. Reed, for Cecilia's sake, save me. The company should put up some money to fill this hole." I put the phone on the table, turned on the speakerphone, and listened to him cry while drinking tea. "Mr. Vance, this is a project you independently contracted. It's written in black and white that you're responsible for your own profits and losses. I'd like to help you, but the board of directors doesn't agree. Think of a solution yourself. If you really can't, how about selling a kidney?" The sound of something shattering came from the other end of the phone, along with Adrian Vance's desperate roar. I hung up the phone, feeling refreshed. This is just the appetizer. The real main course is still to come. Adrian Vance was at his wit's end. When people are pushed to the brink, they're capable of anything. He thought of Cecilia. He felt that Cecilia definitely still had some hidden money or could force me to take out money. So he applied for a prison visit. I had already informed the prison guards and arranged a VIP meeting room for them. The monitoring screen had a clarity of up to 4K. I sat in the monitoring room, holding popcorn. I am the director of this play. On the screen, Adrian Vance's hair was disheveled, his beard unshaven, completely losing his former charm. Cecilia felt so heartbroken seeing him like this that she couldn't stop crying. "Adrian, why have you lost so much weight? Is that bastard Julian Reed bullying you?" Adrian Vance grabbed Cecilia's hand, his fingernails digging into her flesh. "Cecilia, save me. You have to save me. That project lost money. Loan sharks are going to kill me. Tell Julian Reed to give money quickly. Otherwise, I'm doomed." Cecilia looked blank. "What project?" "Julian Reed said you embezzled public funds." Adrian Vance roared. "That was all to run that project, to make money to save you. Now you're the only one who can save me. Tell me the password to that Swiss account of yours." Cecilia froze. That account was her last resort, save for retirement. I hadn't even been told about it. "Adrian, that money can't be touched. Besides, Julian Reed said you were using my money to support other women." Adrian Vance's expression became ferocious. "Do you believe him? Or me?" "Cecilia, you idiot. I become like this for you, and you still can't bear to part with that little bit of money. If you don't give me the money, I'll turn myself in. I'll say you order me to run someone over. Anyway, I'm not going to live. Let's all die together." Cecilia was struck by lightning. She stared blankly at the man with a ferocious face in front of her. Was this the man she had loved for so many years and was even willing to go to jail for? "You, what did you say? You were the one who hit the person. I took the blame for you. You want to turn around and bite me?" Adrian Vance sneered, completely tearing off his mask. "Taking the blame was voluntary. I didn't force you. A woman like you, who no one wants, if I didn't coax you, would you be so devoted? Stop talking nonsense. Give me the password. Otherwise, I'll recant right now." Cecilia's body trembled violently. Tears fell like broken beads. That expression of despair, shock, and regret intertwined was truly wonderful. She suddenly laughed, a laugh that was uglier than crying. "So, what Julian Reed said was all true. You never loved me. You only loved my money." Adrian Vance impatiently slammed the table. "Love my ass. Take a look in the mirror. What else do you have besides money? Hurry up. The password." Cecilia suddenly stood up and across the table spat heavily at him. "Pooey. Adrian Vance, go to hell. I won't give you a single penny. Guards, guards. I want to report. I want to expose him." In the monitoring room, I set down the popcorn and brushed the crumbs off my hands. Perfect. This show is better than any drama on TV. I copied the video. This is Adrian Vance's last meal. Cecilia recanted her testimony, with the surveillance video as evidence, coupled with Adrian Vance starting to spill everything in exchange for a reduced sentence. The truth of the case quickly came to light. Adrian Vance was not only guilty of DUI hit and run, but also suspected of massive fraud and extortion. With all the charges combined, he's probably going to be sewing for the rest of his life. Cecilia, because of her cover-up, can get a reduced sentence, but she'll still have to stay inside for a while. I want to see her again. This time, she didn't yell at me anymore. She'd lost weight, and her eyes were empty. When she saw me, she actually lowered her head, not daring to look me in the eye. "Julian Reed, I'm sorry." Her voice was as soft as a mosquito's hum. I raised an eyebrow. "What did you say?" "I didn't hear you." She looked up, tears welling in her eyes. "I'm sorry. I was wrong. I shouldn't have doubted you. Shouldn't have hurt you for that scum. Only you were truly good to me. Husband, will you wait for me to get out? I'll live properly with you from now on. I'll give you the company. I'll have children for you. We'll start over." Looking at her pitiful appearance, I felt nothing. I even wanted to laugh. This is human nature. Only when they're completely broken do they think of turning back to find an honest man to take them in. Unfortunately, I'm not an honest man. I'm an avenger. I leaned closer to the microphone, my voice as gentle as if I were coaxing a child. "Cecilia, haven't you misunderstood something? The reason I helped you expose Adrian Vance isn't to save you. It's to watch you tear each other apart. Did you think I was loving you these past 3 years? I was tolerating you, tolerating your unreasonable demands, tolerating your family's disdain, tolerating your stupidity." Cecilia's expression froze. That glimmer of hope that had just risen was instantly extinguished by me. What are you saying?" I leaned back in my chair, arms crossed. "Actually, the night Adrian Vance hit someone, I was following behind. I had a dash cam, recorded everything clearly. If I had taken it out then, you wouldn't have had to go to jail. But I didn't. I watched you take the fall, watched you send yourself to prison. Because only in that way could I rightfully take over the company. Only then could I bring ruin to the Sutherland family." Cecilia's pupils contracted sharply. Her mouth was wide open, as if someone was choking her. You did it on purpose. Julian Reed, you're a devil. How could you be so cruel? I'm your wife." I stood up and straightened my suit. "Wife, from the moment you went to jail for another man, you were no longer one. Cecilia, enjoy your time in prison. By the time you get out, Sutherland Corp. will have Reed's name on it. Oh, right. I'll have the lawyer send over the divorce agreement. It doesn't matter if you don't sign it. I have plenty of ways to make you." I turned to leave. Behind me came Cecilia's heart-wrenching cries. That kind of despair was even deeper than when she found out about Adrian Vance's betrayal, because she realized that her only way out was also blocked by me. With Cecilia and Adrian Vance taken care of, all that's left are those 2 old geezers from the Sutherland family. They're still making a scene at the company entrance, trying to pressure me with public opinion. Too bad. The direction of public opinion has already changed. After Adrian Vance's true colors were revealed, everyone thinks I'm the strongest son-in-law who endured humiliation. The Sutherland parents, on the other hand, have become villains who shielded a criminal and couldn't tell right from wrong. I sat in the chairman's office, watching my father-in-law and mother-in-law holding banners downstairs. The banners read, "Julian Reed, return my daughter's hard-earned money." So ugly. I called Davis. "The Sutherland Estates loan, is it due?" Davis laughed sinisterly on the other end. "It was due a long time ago. The bank has already sent a demand letter. Moreover, Rick Sutherland signed a joint and several liability guarantee in order to raise money for Adrian Vance. Now that Adrian Vance is bankrupt, this debt will be charged to Rick Sutherland." I snapped my fingers. "Then let's close the net. Notify the bank to apply for compulsory execution. Kick those 2 old folks out of the house." That afternoon, the court seal was pasted on the door of the Sutherland estate. Rick Sutherland and Madame Sue were invited out by bailiffs. They stood on the street in their pajamas, watching the villa they had lived in for decades being seized. They cried so miserably. I drove slowly and stopped in front of them. I lowered the car window. Madame Sue saw me and pounced like a mad dog. "Julian Reed, it's you. You're the one behind this. You'll die a terrible death. You'll be punished." I raised the window a little to prevent her spittle from splashing in. Mom, how can you blame me for this? It was Dad who signed the guarantee in black and white. If you want to blame someone, blame yourselves for being too greedy and trusting Adrian Vance too much. Rick Sutherland suddenly looked 10 years older. He walked tremblingly to the car window, without his usual arrogance. Julian Reed, for Cecilia's sake, leave us a way out. We're old. We have nowhere to go. I took off my sunglasses and looked at him. Dad, when I had a high fever, I wanted to borrow the car to go to the hospital. You said the car had just been washed, and you were afraid I would get it dirty. So you told me to walk there myself. Did you leave me a way out then? Rick Sutherland was speechless. I looked at them coldly. There's a nursing home in the west of the city. The conditions are poor, but you won't starve. I've already paid for a month. Don't ever appear in front of me again. With that, I floored the accelerator and sped away. In the rearview mirror, the two old people slumped on the ground like two piles of garbage. The resentment that had been bottled up in my heart for 3 years was finally released. Satisfying. 3 years later, Cecilia was released from prison. It was raining heavily that day. She stood at the prison gate with a woven bag, soaked to the bone. No luxury cars to pick her up, no bouquets of flowers. Only a dilapidated taxi stopped in front of her. She hesitated for a long time before getting into the car. The destination was the Stellaris Corp building. She probably still harbored a glimmer of hope that I might remember the past. Or she wanted to see if what belonged to her was still there. I stood at the floor-to-ceiling window on the top floor, watching the taxi stop downstairs. The Sutherland Corp was now renamed Stellaris Corp. Its market value had increased tenfold, and its business spread all over the world. I was a rising star in the business world, the object of countless people's flattery. The secretary knocked on the door and came in. Mr. Reed, there's a woman downstairs named Cecilia Sutherland who wants to see you. She said, she's your ex-wife. I swirled the red wine in my glass. Let her come up. Some things must be settled. When Cecilia entered the room, I almost didn't recognize her. She looked much older. Her hair was gray, and her back was hunched. She was completely devoid of the aura of the wealthy heiress she once was. Seeing me sitting behind that luxurious desk, she nervously rubbed her hands. The mud on her feet soiled the expensive carpet. Mr. Reed. She didn't dare call me husband, nor did she dare call me by my name. I pointed to the chair opposite me. Sit. She sat down carefully, only daring to perch on the edge of the seat. I'm out. I know I shouldn't have come looking for you, but I really have nowhere else to go. My parents died in the nursing home, and the house is gone. Could you arrange a job for me? Even cleaning is fine. The once high and mighty queen was now as humble as a dog. Looking at her, I didn't feel any sense of pleasure, only endless desolation. In these 3 years, I won everything, but I also lost everything. The Julian Reed who once simply wanted to be good to me had died long ago. I took out a bank card from the drawer and threw it on the table. There's $500,000 in here. The password is your birthday. Cecilia's eyes lit up, and she reached out to take the card. I pressed down on the card again. Take this money and leave this city. Never let me see you again. Cecilia's hand froze in midair. Tears welled up in her eyes. Julian Reed, are you really not nostalgic at all? I withdrew my hand and looked at her coldly. Nostalgic? Cecilia, the moment you decided to take the blame for Adrian Vance, there was no more nostalgia between us. This $50,000 is to buy out all our past grievances. Take the money and get lost. Cecilia tremblingly picked up the card. She bowed to me. Thank you, Mr. Reed. She turned and left. Her figure was desolate and bleak. Cecilia left, but I didn't feel as relieved as I thought I would, because there was one secret I had never told. That secret about Adrian Vance's car accident. That night, Adrian Vance was indeed driving under the influence, but the person who was hit was actually staging an accident. Moreover, that person was arranged by me. I had investigated Adrian Vance's whereabouts long ago and knew he would be drinking that day. I paid a professional actor to wait at that intersection. As soon as Adrian Vance's car came, he would run into it. Of course, I was careful. It was just a minor scratch, making it look scary. But I didn't expect Cecilia to be so stupid as to rush up and take the blame. Even more unexpected was that Adrian Vance would be so bad as to go along with it and let her go to jail. This actually helped me a lot. Originally, I just wanted to create some trouble for Adrian Vance and ruin his reputation. As a result, the two of them jointly handed the entire Sutherland Corp over to me. That's fate. I opened the safe and took out a USB drive. It contained the complete surveillance video from that night, including the scene of the person staging the accident, getting up, and counting the money afterward. This was the real truth. If Cecilia knew that she went to jail for a serious crime that didn't even happen, would she go crazy? If Adrian Vance knew that he ruined his life because he was afraid of fleeing the scene of an accident, when it was just a setup, would he be furious? I plugged the USB drive into the computer. Looking at the images on the screen, I couldn't help but laugh. Am I a bad person?